Welcome to Balea RASV 1. This is TAC Trig versus LATAM Squad Company, a Latin American squad company. Very excited about this one. Rumor has it this might be your last chance to see Balea. We haven't seen Balea yet in the UE5 playtests. So we're not sure what the fate of this map is gonna be, but we're gonna have a good game for you today. So for the map itself, this is RASV 1. The teams do not yet know about where these caps are going exactly, but they do have some slight idea. Looks like some fire team leads playing tic-tac-toe at Swamp at the moment. So at the moment, looks like this first round is gonna be a big old mid lane. So Tactric currently knows about Kagat, which is the cap at the bottom of your screen right now. That's going to hint to them that the cap is probably this middle lane situation. If I'm not mistaken, they might have an inkling of an idea that it could go west or it could go east, but we're going straight down the center of the map here.
I think, based on the Swamp and Kagat, both sides know it's going Nicola.
Okay, so we're going to have a really nice rollout that's going to take you straight into Nicola East right off the bat on this one. Zooming in a little bit, let's get our camera over to Nicola East. Let's take a look at some of the approaches these teams might use to kind of conquer this position. So right off the bat, we have move marks for Hill 84 is not a move mark just yet, but we have move marks on the west of that. There's a default in the south, in the southwest. So Tactric is probably going to be working this kind of blue curve. And meanwhile, you're going to see kind of the usual red curve from LSC. Now, whether either team tries to go a little deeper, we'll find out pretty soon. But that's kind of the usual idea is one team sets up north, one team sets up south, and then they go at it from there. And what really is going to determine how this goes is how each team can kind of manage the fringes and overwhelm the surrounding perimeter of Nicola East.
Looks like the rollout is off. LSC is going straight out of south. They're going straight toward the center.
Let's get in. So taking a look at rollout, looks like you've got a good view of the main right now. Let's see if we can follow something here. And I'm going to reorient myself to get a good view of Tactrig's labs. Now, this is going to be CAF mechanized versus PLA motorized, meaning that ZBLs and labs are going to be the big decider in terms of armor for the majority of this match. ZBLs tending to have a bit of an advantage due to their really high health pool. They've got good armor, and they also have an ATGM that they can work with that the labs do not. So we would expect Tactric ZBLs, as long as they can stay together and support each other well, will have some sort of an advantage against the Canadians, at least in round one.
Looks like LSC has their ZBLs already split off. Two of them are on the west side, and one's already going down center.
And it doesn't look to me, looking at my map, does not look like we're going to see any kind of engagement between those armor, at least on the bat right here. LSC playing a very conservative rollout at the far back end of the map, but they're playing very tightly knit together. So if there are any probing attacks by Tactric, they should be ready for those to happen.
When you guys can. Yep. Keep it accurate.
Still working with trucks rolling out from LSC. Again, kind of far behind the Tactric situation. Tactric at this point, updating on map, on the south side of Nicola, has quite a lot of control to work with on the south side. Meanwhile, if we look here, LSC, not even in yet. Not even at Gabuke yet. So they're severely delayed on this rollout, and they might find that they're going to be punished for it momentarily as contact starts to happen.
They did do a very weird or very interesting rollout over the hill out of the main spawn, which did delay their roll. Looks like LSC is starting to drive in their two ZBLs.
Tactric with a rally. No fob yet on the south side of Nicola. I actually changed my words there. It looks like there's a fob in the red barn, red house right here, on the south side of this cap. And we are about to see some kind of contact with this transport truck you're watching right now, probably being heard by Rakodra, who is now creeping through Nicola proper and pushing north a little bit. So Rakodra might have ears on this momentarily. And that is quite a few LSC to be seen on the hills above. Recordra very, very outnumbered. Not likely to survive very long, but the information gathered is going to be essential. I think we just saw Recordra also place a mark, having spotted an LSC at the top of the mountain.
Oh, first
Tap
call out
V
made for the tap.
is rolling through. Ooh, Tap V hits a tree. That's going to be unfortunate. ZBL spot that. Oh my goodness, and they're already getting chewed up. Recordra gets a lat rocket into Tap V. I don't believe it was engine, but the infantry is doing an excellent job. Hat rocket comes in. Recordra almost takes another, does not manage to make it happen. Contact is fully exploded on the north side of Nikola now.
Want to take a look at Veach over Squad 4. They're actually currently wrapping around on the south side of the Nikola Hills.
So, updating map, you can kind of see that it is just this huge cluster of blue and red on this mountain. Tactrig has done a very good job of pushing themselves aggressively into that mountain very, very quickly. We're also looking at Tactrig armor now flanking this western perimeter, trying to get an angle. But they are going to be encountering momentarily, if you can get eyes from me, Sandune, there is a convoy of ZBLs on the north side of that road. And I think we're about to see an armor engagement for that. They're very, very close to being able to see each other. If they just round one more corner. ZBLs are playing very... ZBLs are playing very conservatively for the moment, but it looks like they could be rewarded with a flank if they can go around wide enough. So we'll have to revisit that, because it does not look like these two teams are going to go for a frontal pick on that. Looks like they're going to go for the side angle. I think it is possible, though, that the labs for LSC have heard the ZBLs in such close proximity to their west, because they are also withdrawing backwards, which is not...
It's interesting, though.
What I expected.
One of the labs is still detached very far away. So, 3 ZBLs versus 2 labs. Who are you placing your bets on?
If the labs, or sorry, if the ZBLs take this turn, they're going to have one lab, like, right in the back. Because we've got a lab, 2 labs, one of which will be ready with their front armor, but one of which is going to have their rear facing this fight, would be able to leave quickly, but you do not want your rear armor facing the main engagement in these situations.
Chris Webb is currently leading the push of the 3 ZBLs. They just crossed the bridge. They should have eyes on the lab soon.
It looks like they are taking that turn. Lab takes a lot of shots. Second lab engaging from the side, but one lab goes down. Tabled is very exposed right now. You need more of those ZBLs to be pushing in. And that's going to be a second lab cleaned up. That is one trade. ZBL goes down. But that is a 2-for-1 trade so far. So very well played by Tactrig ZBLs. Not quite the exact outcome they had hoped for. But nonetheless a positive outcome. We're seeing LSC AT now flooding into the situation, but if Tactrig is any good at armor, and I know they are already getting their way out of here.
Chris Webb and Vex has already smoked up and are going out the way they came, crossing over the bridge that TT's already mined.
So that is quite a lot in terms of vehicle gameplay. Back to the infantry. It's looking like the hill north of Nikola has been completely controlled by Tactrig infantry, and the reason they were able to do that is because they got to Nikola so much quicker. So it now looks like it's mostly just going to be the periphery that LSC is forced to operate on these different sides.
We're going to try to hold the east side for now.
We'll try to help Brett on the
And if we take a look at our east side, currently being chewed up by Tactrig mortars. Looks like Russo might have taken a shell. 2 times infantry down to mortars. Very well done by Tactrig mortars so far, keeping this eastern side suppressed.
Yep, Russo and No are currently down. Bishop's hiding behind a rock.
We're backcapping pretty slowly, but we know the gas coming on Nikola.
At the moment, in terms of the FOB, looks like Hack Unstoppable might have a shot at Tactrig mortars in just a second, but if I'm not mistaken... Nope, looks like the other supporting infantry is leaving. Unstoppable is going to be able to shut down Tactrig mortars for a time with this pick that he's about to get. Mortars are now offline, but it's going to be a while before Unstoppable is able to find its way to Tech Trig's radio, and he's got quite a bit of infantry that is now responding to that presence. I don't think this radio is under any threat. But maybe
Lav, this only remaining Lav, is currently pushing in, getting ready to potentially engage the infantry on Nicola.
I think he's got a mountain full of Tech Trig infantry to contest with. This hill is slowly being recovered. Nice shot by that Lav onto Quella Classroom. There is a little bit of a push coming from LSC onto this mountain. Tech Trig's control not quite as strong, but that's only because they've managed to push off of that mountain now and are now taking the fight onto Hill 84 itself. So this Hill 84, a little bit difficult to tell because the rally markers are all blue, but there are a few rallies present from LSC able to kind of contain this. They're quite close to the road, though.
Right there, I think we just saw LSC Lav take a pop shot at someone friendly running across the road.
That Lav is being called out by Tech Trig Silo, who is now taking rounds. Dez is getting lit up by this Lav, but will make it out. Wow, that health bar got very dark red. Dez is on fire. Is his engine okay? I think Dez is going to make it out, but only barely. I'll have to be very careful on that helipad. So that Lav is going to be... Ooh.
ZBL is currently pushing the Lav now. Double team.
Big old fight. Excellent work by Chris Webb. ZBL getting behind that Lav. Probably went for the turret immediately and went for the mobility. If you can get around a turreted Lav, it's dead in the water.
Yep.
It does look like...
As fast as they were in, they are now out.
Cream and Vex and Chris are going a different direction from each other. Usually you'd like to see your ZBL stay together a little bit tighter on the exit, but really that's just a nitpick at this point. All of LSC's armor is dead. Here comes Chris and Chuck getting themselves back together.
Chris looks like he's engined, starting to smoke around. Let's see. Will Vex respond to the push?
So that's kind of the default in these scrims. We would expect that one ZBL would push the other if engined. There are quite a lot of LSC on the hill that are overlooking these Lavs. It would be really nice to see a LAT rocket manage to make an impact here, but I do not think that is what's going to happen at the moment.
Vex and Chris are already out, and they are going to be safe from the enemy.
So that's the Krasny Cut cap finished, which now means the cap is going to Nicola East. As you can see, there's no infantry presence from LSC on Nicola, which means Echo is free to resume the mortars. ZBLs are free to return to the repair station, which has been set up in this building. One thing you can do for your team in pub servers, whenever you're playing any game, is if you're setting up that defense fob, make sure your armor has that rep station, because they will appreciate you for it. Chuckinator was in a bad way if Chris did not push him earlier. So the infantry fight in the woods continues to develop. Hill 84 itself, though, the cap has seen a little bit of blue presence. Tech Trig able to get on top of the hill, able to get a couple picks, but also finding themselves challenged for the moment. We'll see if the wave of blue is able to be pushed back, or if this is going to continue to become, as it is, looks like completely overwhelmed. There is a little bit of presence over here, and on this 2 rally on the north that I had pointed out earlier. But for the most part...
Mortars hitting Hill 84.
For the most part, looks like Tech Trig is going to have control over the main hilltop of Hill 84. But we are missing a little bit of the gunplay that is deciding this. I think Maury just went down to mortars. Jerry able to stay alive next to a bunch of trees. I think Maury may have been picked by guns, I'm not quite sure. But these mortars are doing a hell of a job from both teams chewing into the top of this hill. A little bit of some interesting going on behind Gabuke, which is a couple caps back from the current active caps. We've got Cerbrojan and Weebles working themselves on an enemy fob in this garage. Looks like they've managed a few picks already. We'll have to see if they're able to continue their pressure on that fob. They're not working with a lot of friendly infantry, but if they can out-frag, then it's possible that this fob could be pulled down.
Right now we can see Messi and Dr. OP on TT side try and push one of LSC's rallies.
For the time being, looks like LSC has managed to shove Tactric off of that Hill 84. Jerry Kiddo, the last one remaining on the King of the Hill. I have to imagine that No is calling out the friendly Tactric on his body. He must hear little motions here and there. It's one thing to consider when you're playing a scrim or even against a really good team in a pub server is if you sit on an enemy body, it's pretty likely that they're going to be calling out your position the entire time. So Jerry's going to get grenaded. Possibly. A little short on that grenade. They don't have his precise position. GLs are getting much closer. And there goes Jerry. That final grenade lands on its mark. I would assume that No is probably called to his team right now. Okay, he died. He just gave up. So we can probably push. And it looks like... not currently what's happening right now. LSC being a little bit careful. Revisiting the Sir Bro dude. Revisiting that flank. It looks like Tactric's still stalled at this fob by Gebuke. Mortar's doing an excellent job of chewing into the hillside, however. Really not much presence, and it looks like Chuckinator and Chris Webb are going to provide a little bit of armor supports. Here they come. And that's a nice smoke. I would like to see if they've got infantry loaded up. Ooh, very nice lat shot. Engines. Bishop with the very, very clutch play at that lat kit. Basically within minimum arming distance, but only barely. Lightning 07 on the backside of the hab. Chris Webb now proxying.
Chris Webb's probably going to get shot in the back.
Bishop goes down, just barely saved. Nice play by Axios Recon. There is no hab in this building. I'm trying to...
it's actually out in the open behind the trees, just over to the west.
It does appear to be out in the open. Now, I have to question why this decision was made. Because as you can see, this hab is having a bad time. As concerning as it could be to put your hab into the one building in the entire area, you still have to consider that you're going up against some really good mortar players, and those really good mortar players are going to punish you for it. So now they are stuck on their hab, barely able to trickle infantry out, while Tactrig is working on shoveling their radio down. Axios getting the shovel, and I believe this radio is staged, which means LSC can no longer spawn on that hab. Not that spawning there would have done them much good. They're basically working off of rallies now.
Weeble's playing as a medic, trying to keep himself alive, trying to protect against LSC infantry that's going back to the radio right now.
That's pretty much the best thing that he can be doing right now, because being able to pick people up before they can get to this building is going to be a big deal for Axios, who is still trying to shovel this radio down.
Weeble's just got one good shot on Legus, who just gave up, and he's currently trying to keep himself alive as long as he can, while LSC is busy getting people alive in the field rather than rushing back to the radio.
And those medics are pretty exposed in their attempt to revive here, kind of just relying on their camo to get the revives done. Mortars have ceased on the hab, but it does not matter, as this radio is now, I believe, bleeding out. Yep, Axios now guarding a bleeding radio. We're going to see 20 tickets come off the board for LSC within a moment here. It'll take about a minute for that radio to bleed. And unless we see some big pushes from those infantry, revisiting back onto the hill for a moment. Mortar's still chewing, still a grind. With no significant progress either way, but the fact that Tactrig is dead on top of this hill means that LSC is not doing a good enough job of defending it. Heading back over to the radio, I don't think any significant pushes have been made. Axios still managing to stay alive on top of this radio. So we will most likely see that radio die within the next minute or two. And it does look like quite a few LSC are dead due to probably mortars, or maybe it's Koala Classroom just laying down the hatred as the medic. It really is just Weebles and Axios now with no LSC around to respond whatsoever. So this has been a complete decimation. Really nice drop from Chris Webb, being able to get a couple people, even a crewman out, since they were engine, that frees up one person to be able to go help either proxy a hab or in this case shovel radio. There goes that radio. That's 20 tickets off the board for LSC. And that means this area is no longer of interest to us for at least now. Does look like there's quite a bit of fighting happening on the hills above, but that's not going to save them the 20 tickets for this fob.
Yeah, back over at Hill 84, it looks like TT's already found the LSC rally on 84 and is currently mortaring it. And all the LSC infantry's gotten pushed off outside of a select few.
So you have to assume that somebody had seen the rally wave happen, and an efficient communications chain allowed them to pass that info to mortars quickly and get the rounds out. Drag showing a considerable amount of gun skill. Outnumbered heavily, but still managing to stay alive on top of this hill. Drag's gonna have his work cut out for him, though. I think those medics are gonna begin a revive. Not quite just yet. But he is quite close to a rally. We would love to see that rally get burned soon so that Tactic can continue the wrap. A rally actually quite close to a Tactic rally.
To get revives up. Oh, and they're down by a frag on Hill 84.
And it does appear, taking a look at our map now, that Hill 84 is flashing blue. That means Tactic is getting this cap going. There is still this rally on the east side that is precious to LSC, and it looks like their squad 11 may have... Hard to tell if that's a friendly or enemy rally. I really wish these were blue and red to really signify the difference, but we're about to find out in a moment because Tactic is about to walk up on that rally. And it does look like that is an enemy rally. Asket is about to burn that. There goes that rally. That's one more lifeline that LSE does not have any longer. I do hear... Is that tracks? We are looking at a tank. Tactic does not always pull out a tank every scrim, but it looks like the Ghost of Narva, Tabled, and Dez have opted to man this one. Curious to see if LSE manages a tracking shot and an airstrike onto that tank. That's usually how tanks end up dying in these scrims, is airstrikes. So we'll have to revisit that later. At the moment, not doing much other than watching the road out of main.
Yep. Crustacean and the rest of his squad has done an excellent job of wiping each LSC push off of the rally.
Where are you wanting to
doing
build
a
here?
lot of spawn waves off those rallies. That ticket cost must be brutal.
They still have people on that.
And it looks like Koala Classroom getting very, very close to this rally. Yep, there goes the burn on that rally. I do believe that is every single LSC rally now wiped off of Hill 84. And that means that this flashing that we're seeing on Hill 84 is going to continue. They're going to manage a cap onto this objective, and looking around, there's really not much to respond to it. I do hear a little bit of autocannon fire elsewhere. Sounds like within Gabuke, we've got Brett and Fathead holding a recon position or something. So let's kind of look a little bit at the big picture map for just a moment. So, zooming out a little bit. Hill 82 is pretty much completely under Tactric's control. There's no rallies in that area to really respond to it. That's going to move us over to Gabuke, currently under Tactric control. Not much that LSC has in the position to do anything about it. And it looks like even Commander is now getting a fob into Gabuke. Zooming out.
Papaluski's getting ready to go potentially just assassinate Heist on the mortar.
So Tactric mortars will go down again, but at this point it's kind of a too little too late situation where Nickel is about to not even be an active cap anymore.
Seems like he's waiting. It's as if he's waiting for a special moment.
Coming back to the big map, Gabuke, now just a complete blue wave. And if you look at Swamp, absolutely not even a little bit of red to be found on that Swamp defense, and we even have a hat kit monitoring it to make sure no fobs can be set up on that, and a hat kit monitoring the east side as well. Might see ZBL, might not, might catch this RWS, possibly, but Tactric has well set themselves up to continue and make a complete roll happen.
Wolf, do you want me to pull one of the squads off Hill 84 with the ZBL?
We have a lot of presence by LSC over on TT's backcaps. They caught out Bit and one of the ZSLs, but he was able to drive away relatively unharmed.
It does look like Tactric has inserted their ZTZ directly into Gabuke. This is how comfortable this team is feeling right now. And if you look at the surrounding areas, what red do you really see to challenge them at the moment? There's not much of anything here except for a few dead bodies. So the cap will continue into Gabuke. I don't believe the cap at Hill is complete just yet, but it should be within the next minute or two.
Yep, and right around the same time LSC started the flip on Nicola East, they just killed one of the infantry driving on the Lodges. I
Pulling radio
think it's a
Nicola.
little too late now.
It is far too late. Looking at the cap progress for Tactrig, it's kind of hard to see on a small map here, but this is a 95% complete cap. This is not going to happen for LSC, and they're going to be rolled over because they're not ready on Gabuke, and they're not ready on the cap past that either. So unless they can figure out a way to get Hilltop back, and unless they can get a defense going on the cap far past that where we see Rocket off in the distance, this is a roll in the making. Not complete just yet. They still have a chance to transfer from Nicola over to Gabuke, but all this distance in between will take them quite a long time to cover without vehicles. And it's going to be difficult for them to use vehicles because Tactrig's armor has been running unopposed, basically, for this entire match so far. Losing only, as far as I'm aware, only losing one ZBL. We do hear Desentabled's tank. And quite a few LSC behind it. Are we tracked? I see engine smoke. Looks like this tank is mobile, but it's been quite hurt. So I'm assuming we're probably looking at a hat kit within that RWS over there. Possibly. Are they okay? It looks like their driver might have crashed because they are just driving straight into a tree at the moment, which is not generally SOP for quality tank play. So not really sure what's going on with that, but I hope they will figure themselves out soon. Okay. Looks like Warstick, Vidal, just kind of roaming around with the Tap V at the moment. Would love to see if they can maybe pick a couple people up and respond to what's happening right now, but the big picture is looking quite poor for LSC. Hell 84 is completely capped. Gabuke will be neutral within a minute or two. Checking up on Swamp. You can already see it on the map, but I'm going to check it up on in the game. We've got ZBL presence. We've got significant infantry presence ready for the cap to flip. Tactrig going for the throat on this one. They're going for a complete roll. Does sound like ZBL taking some shots at something, but I don't believe there's much armor to be found on the map at the moment.
They're taking pot shots at the LSC helo who's flying high. Very little effect, but it is enough to get it to push off.
So Maddie's going to probably head back to main for rep on this one. Unfortunate if you're that helo. Probably looking to get some useful information for the team, but alas, not going to happen at the moment, thanks to Tactric ZBLs.
How long until we're neutral? 80% on neutral.
So, I'm still curious to see that Tactrig has managed to keep a couple people alive inside of Nicola in Haza. I assume... I missed this information for sure, but I assume that Haza was able to pull this radio.
I believe so, because when we initially saw what happened was LSC pushed into Nicola East, and once they got into the cab zone, they just sat there. They didn't bother trying to find the radio and hab that was associated with the mortar.
So Haza's going to probably make his way out of there. If he's lucky, he can find an LSC to just take him out, because he needs a fast transportation to Gabuke, which is completely flooded with Tactric infantry. Orstek driving the Taffy directly in, making some good use of the GL launcher on these windows. Brett chucking a smoke in frustration. Not going to do much to a Tap V, but at the same time, not much a Tap V can do here. Might see gray in that window if they're lucky, but really nothing they can do. And now that they've gotten their wheel popped, it's going to be hard to get out of here. And I do believe I hear some ZBLs and track tanks in the area that could come and deal with it.
ZBLs are currently picking up infantry off of Hill 84 just to ferry over to the next point.
And this is kind of what you would have hoped to have seen from Tactrit, or sorry, from LSC, is loading up their labs and getting people to the point to respond to their back falling out behind them. But that's not what we've seen happen so far. We've also not seen any AT be able to really scratch the tank past that initial contact from earlier, so Tactric's tank is going to feel pretty safe on the map at the moment.
Let's go.
And if
Right
we
now, what's
update...
interesting,
Go ahead.
we have, I think that's Squad 6 LSC outside, almost right outside of main. They've rallied and they started walking on foot towards swamp.
And that's going to be pretty easily stopped by a small contingency of Tactric that are on the other end of this. Dusty and Vucifer are about to run into that. Maybe not easy to stop. They are fully outnumbered on this, but the information will be enough to shift other people to this area. Nice nade from Vucifer. Very well done.
There you go, you can just hit around that area.
So Vucifer is going to be able to put a little bit of hurt out before he goes down. Vucifer takes a shot to the face. But this information is all Tactric really needed to understand that there is a push coming from the northeast on this. And we can already see that we've got Medic, AT, Rifleman, even Heavy AT, all responding to collapse on this. And it's even possible that this Heavy AT might go burn that rally. Not as huge of a deal if their main is just simply right here, but still able to burn rallies and keep them farther away from swamp. It also does appear that LSC is going to be setting up a fob over to the west side, I believe at Volino, which is right next to swamp. My issue with this fob, I critiqued the outside hab earlier, and I'm going to critique this as well, is you have to consider the approach from your fob to the cap. The approach here, pretending we're an infantry soldier, puts you open road, open river, and your enemy on top of this hill is going to just delete you. So if this fob comes into play, I can't imagine it getting a lot done unless Tactric is just absent on this hill, which they currently are because they're dealing with the east side. But I think we could have possibly placed a more... we could have considered the approach with the fobs that we place when we place them.
We have a collection. All three labs from LSC are now back up and operational, but they are just holding far outside of any realm of influence on the game.
I mean, if I were LSC labs, I'd be scared too. Tactric ZBLs have been running train on them, and this tank is out, and that'll put a stop to any lab fight really quickly, so there's really not much that LSC can do other than try to get a lucky pick with those labs. And it does look like the tank is going to be getting a view on this infantry that we had spotted out earlier, where Vu was defending with the grenade. They've walked over that position, but they're about to find themselves with a tank to deal with.
Interestingly enough, TT mortars look like they are off. They're currently landing across the river, closer to the LSC main,
So I
instead
think
of the area marked.
the reason we might be seeing that, it's a little difficult when cliffs are involved to get a really precise mark, or a really precise mortar, because the elevation causes challenges with ranging. But the fact that the Tactric already knows about that push from across the river is all they need to understand that this push is coming from that direction. And now the mortars changing targets to a much more effective location. This eastern forest not currently hitting anything just yet, but if they are to shift a little bit closer, it's going to be a squad wipe in the making.
What we see here, though, is 4 LSCs hiding over a rock beyond the view of the CT tank.
I mean, if I were them, I'd be scared too. CTZ is a very scary tank, very tough to deal with. Incredibly powerful frontal armor. A tracking shot from the side by a lat would be ideal, but looking around, this open exposed hill can be seen by all of Tactric. Shot's not going to happen in that direction. And get luck getting around this side either.
Dismounted from the tank, he is going to potentially push the infantry on foot.
I think what we're seeing is a push to get information from mortars. We saw those mortars not landing accurately. Or maybe it's just the Ghost of Narva doing what he does and just going full aggro. Sometimes punished, sometimes not.
Well,
in that case, right in the face. Did not manage to make anything happen for that. I believe that means that ZTZ is now without a commander seat. Not the end of the world, but...
Enough, it looks like that the ZTZ is deciding not to hold this hill and is now slowly making its exit.
So I think to leave the ZTZ for a moment, let's check out the situation at Swamp, which is our current active cap. Unfortunately, Tactric has no infantry present within this cap. We've got Vex. Ooh, takes a big hit from, I believe, a hat kit. Is the only presence inside of Swamp, so the roll is not as clean as Tactric would have liked it to be. Looks like Vex has also lost back tires. He's going to have a hell of a time getting out of here alive. But it does not seem that LSC is aggressive enough in pursuing.
Sounds like we just got a call by Wolf. Enemy infantry called out in Gabuke. He's calling for immediate respawns.
So let's see if we can get eyes on that. Gabuke push would be pretty tough because Tactric is out of position at Swamp. But at the moment, it does not look like there is a significant... I don't know, I take that back. This is kind of basically an even
Squad's
1-for-1, yeah. So I got an even 1-for-1. The only challenge here is a defensive position in these apartment buildings is very difficult to deal with. Fancy Foss takes a round. K10 goes down. Here to respond, one goes down. It is a trade fest over here. Taking shots by Crustacean behind. And I believe this is a complete wipe for LSC on this one. Nearly wiped Tactric out, but...
Crustacean's gonna catch him out there, trying to bandage himself, and he's
dead.
So this is a complete wipe for LSC. It was a great push, but unfortunately there's just a bit too much defense to be had. Now, the question is, where do they end up respawning? I think the answer is going to be this rally. All the way. It's about a 300-meter walk back to that cap, which is a bit of a distance. It's a good safe distance for a rally to be in, but it's got some Tactric to the south, Tactric to the east, and at the moment there are only 2 off of this rally. So if I am LSC and I want to push Gabuke, well, we just did the frontal push, right?
Oh, sounds like ZTZ's waiting for the potentially for the showing of the LSC tank.
So ZTZ's gonna hold for now. Revisiting on this rally, if I am LSC, we did the frontal push, it didn't work. And it looks like this SL might be trying that again, and it's gonna work even worse now, because if you look at Tactric, there's just so much blue in there. So at this point, you do need to consider, okay, how can I change my approach in a way that allows me to get in? And it does look like LSC has a combat engine and a lat up here. They could do a little bit of work if they're lucky and can sneak in.
I don't think they've replaced it.
At the moment, just so much Tactric inside of his defense. I don't see much happening. The best they might be able to manage is a little bit of lat kit onto the CBL, possibly. Get a little pick, but I don't think the CBL is damaged enough for that. And I believe, yep, there's the rep station. Tactric doing a good job making sure that their armor is well supplied and well repaired. Let's get ourselves back over to the north side where this cap was contested earlier. Swamp, unfortunately for Tactric, a wave of red, so they were not quite able to capitalize.
Tank just got engaged.
That was a big hit. Looks like a tracking shot.
So Rocket 50 with the hat took a shot at the same time as the TT tank. It looks like they got a double hit on both tracks.
And that's gonna
does not
be...
know where to respond.
So that's an Abrams. Is that double tracked? That looks double tracked to me. So that's going to be ZTZ. I don't think they currently have the angle. Looks like they do have, pardon my camera work here, they do have a slight angle onto this ZTZ.
Yep.
Enemy tank on fire, and that is a dead Abrams. Or sorry, a Leopard in this case. We're fighting Calf, of course. Yep. Whoopsies. Don't mind me. So that was a very fast death. If we retrace those steps, we got not very far away from main.
And the cherry on top, TT mortars landing right on top of the dead tank.
And that's kind
If
of...
that wasn't enough, they would have stopped that repair.
Yep, and that's standard operating procedure. The moment that tank gets tracked, mortars are priority number 1 for taking out any crewmen that are repairing that tank. In this case, an airstrike was not even required, but usually that would be in preparation for some kind of an airstrike. So now that tank is free to, or sorry, Tactric's tank is free to resume its push back to Swamp. The concern is, though, there is just still so much LSC infantry here. I don't see them able to make much of a difference on the cap itself. In fact, they're putting themselves at risk by rolling through, because a single tracking shot puts them at risk of an airstrike. And it does look like they'll be leaving this area in due time. It does look like LSC is committed to artillery on Gabuke. This is going to be a nice arty as far as keeping heads in buildings and keeping screens blurry. But as for actually killing any tac trig, it's not going to get much done. At the most, we would expect that it stops this small fire team on the north side from getting back in, at least initially. So we'll be seeing a ranging shot landing in just a moment. And we're going to be seeing how effectively LSC can push off of these hills now. I have to say, there are not that many LSC. And again, this arty is not going to land in a way that kills much tac trig. So I cannot see this attack being particularly effective, but we will find out momentarily.
Some friendly banter going on between the TT ZBLs as they push into Gabuke as it's getting
That's aggressive.
artilleried.
I don't know exactly why they're doing that. Looks like Chuck just took a shell. He's going to roll out of here with 99% help. Didn't really matter too much in his case. And now let's see the push from LSC. Coming off the mountains. But it sounds like a Lav ZBL fight. Off to the side. Chris Webb in poor shape. That's going to be a pick for Lavs. LSC is going to get a pick onto Chris Webb.
One lab is currently engined and is caught now by...
And there's the
Max
ZBL to
behind.
respond.
Oh,
Getting
looks like
behind him. ZBL not in a great position right now, but does finish
able
the
to
pick
pull
onto
away
that
with
Lav.
Wow, look at that drive-by.
And that is a ZBL that wants right the fuck out of there. And this is a
Vex is
Lav
now out repairing.
that wants to
That
finish the
Lav is
fight.
out for blood.
And they might just see it. Looks like it. They've taken a lot of hits, and there's no depression. You need depression, driver. Oh, this is a huge misplay by the
engined.
driver.
He's orange. He's burning.
That is
It's over.
unbelievable. So in this case, you really kind of do need to just ram yourself straight into that ZBL, because if you don't give your gunner depression, well, he's not going to get hit anything. So Cream and Vex will just barely make it out alive on this one.
Vex
Unless... Are these AT? It does
one
look
miss,
like...
but there comes the TT tank coming into support.
Ooh, with the drift? Very stylish.
Very stylish.
Let's revisit
Now
back
they're
on
coming
this.
back.
Let's revisit back on this defense. LSC made it. One of them made it almost to the street. So as I was saying earlier, this push not enough to really make a decisive difference. They're going to just get stuck on these hilltops. And now you've got a bunch of tac trig and windows who are very, very ready to pick them up. Maybe not as many as I thought. Actually, eat my words, Hack Unstoppable, if I'm not mistaken, was our one guy who managed to get into that mortar earlier. Managed to find himself inside a tac trig's hab. So I have to hand props to that individual for being able to get so far.
Wow, look at that shot. We just missed it, but Tabled actually took a pot shot of the UAV just as the match ended. And
I'm
he was
sad we
able to
missed
knock
that.
it out.
So, complete victory. Did not finish the entire roll to main, unfortunately, for tac trig. They were almost poised to do it, but they were able to be kind of picked apart from the sides by LSC. But complete victory is really the only way to describe it. Almost complete armor dominance. We even saw Vex survive at the very end there, even though they should have been dead to rights. So, that is fully a complete victory for tac trig on this one. At the end of this first round, we're going to take a couple minutes to take a break. Now is a great time to grab a drink, go to the bathroom. We will be back on round 2. We'll be swapping sides, so you'll see tac trig repping CAF and LSC working PLA. LSC will then have a bit of an advantage with those ZBLs. Those are very strong assets, so we will have to see how they take advantage of those. But until that round, we will see you soon. Go get yourself a drink of water. Hydrate or dihydrate. All right, ladies and gents, we're back. Rollout has not quite started just yet. We're 2 minutes out for rollout. But we do really want to update you on the map for this next layer. Same layer, Balea SV1, but as you can see, the flag caps have totally transformed. And in this case, we've got a complete west lane, which means we're going to see a little bit of a skirmish on this train tunnel. Train tunnel being one of the more interesting caps on Balea, because this train tunnel cap is kind of a two-layer, of course. You've got, of course, the bottom train tunnel, and then you also have the top. But both of those are cappable areas, which means a team can proxy you and they can cap you on top of that hill, even though that you've got great control over the tunnel itself. So we might see that come into play. Checking back up on the map, I see quite a few tactic markers on the north of Industrial Yard. So possible we'll see a tactic presence here for a direct frontal push, but also move marks on the surrounding hills. And I think this might be armor move mark over here, possibly. So it looks like Tactic's going to go pretty aggro on Industrial Yard off the rip, with a few fobs, one for the train tunnel and one maybe more aggressively.
This would be very difficult for LSC if we look there, though, as well. Their first cap is Kobasa. It does not tell LSC where the map is going, and it won't tell them until their third cap.
That's a very good point. So Tactic has Volino Central to indicate, okay, this whole thing is going west. Kolbasa, meanwhile, for LSC, as you said, is more of a centrally located cap. It's going to inform them, okay, it could go middle or it could go west. So LSC, we probably don't expect them to dedicate their entire team to train yard like we're seeing from Tactic. You can just see the tons of marks on train yard. But you can probably expect that LSC is going to try to put a couple people in this Nicola area, which is not in play at all.
Yep, it'll be very difficult. LSC may be on the back foot because they actually, after Kobasa and Depot, it's only when they see Industrial Yard are they going to realize,
oh shit,
team goes train yard.
Yep.
They're going to be 3 caps behind. It's going to give TT a lot of time to get that map control around train tunnel and stop that cap on the top and bottom.
So if you are playing a pub and you're in this situation where your enemy has information that you do not have, it's kind of crucial that you try to read your opponent by seeing where they're playing most strongly. And in this case, if LSC notices, okay, hold on a second, Tactic is going crazy on train tunnel right now, it's probably safe for you to assume, okay, maybe it's not Nicola, because these guys probably know something we don't. Even if you don't have a squad lanes, a squad maps, a squad calc open, you can read your opponent to kind of devise, okay, they know something. We should probably respond to that.
Interestingly enough, now with the rollout out, LSC has committed almost all of their vehicles actually over to the north entrance, mainly focusing closer to Depot and to the north train tunnel side.
Is it possible? I'm not entirely sure, though. It is possible they know something about it being on the west side of the map, and I might just be wrong about that, but I have not checked.
Could be also be possible that they just like their roads. Maybe they just
maybe they just really want
of the road.
a fight on train tunnel or something. Watching Tactic just stream through aggressively with the labs in the middle. This is a beautiful little convoy we have here.
Very
have to
unfortunate
wonder.
for LSC. They had a full Chinese Tiger try in full send straight into the train tunnel. They just got caught right on the bridge before. They might mistime their entrance.
So this is going to be the first initial bit of contact. We're looking at Veach. So maybe not contact just yet, but Veach is going to be taking a car up the hill to get a rally up there, most likely. As we zoom in on the tunnel. LSC is first here. Oh god, Wolf. Wolf might just get chewed up.
The full squad.
Yep. And that is a CSK ready to rip into that lodging.
Infantry.
That is a rough outcome.
Good pick. Oh, his shots are on point. He's already got rid of Randy. It's just Wolf and Haza now.
Meanwhile,
inside the tunnel,
armor chewing into the northwestern side. Looks like the tunnel's getting laid into as well. We've got a little bit of an armor fight. ZBL is on the bridge, taking an engine shot. Nice shooting so far by Lavs. HP low for that ZBL. Looks like Cream's gonna smoke out, try to leave. Chuckinator also damaged, but repairing. It is a bit of a mess on this over here. Looks like a dead ZBL. Oh my goodness, quite a few dead infantry on that ZBL as well. Labs are feeling pretty good right now. I don't believe Tactric has managed to lose any just yet. However, this is the second Tactric truck we've seen assaulted, and quite a few dead on the ground. Will not matter. Scud's going to come up. G1's going to get the revive. And there's not really enough infantry presence from LSC to stop that revive from happening. Oh,
Look at
no!
that. LSC put down a radio,
radio!
right before contact, and Mike is already
You
on it.
cannot do that. You cannot just drop a radio that soon off the rip without making sure that the surrounding area is clear, because this is a free 20-ticket gift attacker. 20 tickets, plus they can trade the truck out or keep it hostage. It's their choice to do that with. A disastrous rollout for LSC. There goes a truck. I think Tactric is now ticket neutral as far as the vehicles go. Well, positive considering the dead CSK, or sorry, not CSK, the dead ZBL. And we're not seeing
Seems like
quite...
all that remains is just a few bits of LSC that was initially there on the drop-off right at the start.
Getting a couple shots on top of that entrance. That's a very exposed position to put yourself in, though, so... Not the...
Well, desperate times call for desperate measures.
It is a great view of a lot of Tactric trying to pick themselves up. He might get a couple good picks and send Tactric back to the spawn screen for a couple of those members.
Eyes on Tactric infantry that just picked themselves up around the destroyed vehicle. He could easily net himself 3 kills.
Revisiting on the southern side, looks like Leonard and Vucifer about to spot out quite a few infantry at the industrial yard. Kind of to be expected if Tactric knows the cap is going this way. Sounds like an armor fight happening behind us. ZBL engaging again. But this is 2 labs they have to fight against.
Yep. LSC ZBL's already decided it's not worth the
That
fight.
is
disengaging now.
Oh, but if they just commit a little bit, that is 1 Tactric lav on fire. Table and Narva doing a good job body blocking. But that ZBL has chosen to absolutely leave the area. Probably the right call in this situation. ZBLs might have an advantage in a direct 1v1, but that is no longer a 1v1. We're looking at 3 labs to 1 ZBL. This is not a fight that you win. So best to just back trade. Watching the scope stabilize. There goes No is still alive. Gets taken out from the side. So ICO just got Leonard killed, unfortunately. At least Leonard got killed without being able to trade out Vucifer. Of course, she's going to be last alive in this area for now. Gary Kiddo here to just kind of hold the angle. It looks like the inside of cap not yet fully penetrated yet by Tactrig.
Gangry just got picked off.
Oh, I take it wrong.
Right
Weebles.
outside.
Weebles and Club with the Tap V. What are they going to do? What have you got
look
for
at
us? So they're about to gain information on Hab, and they're about to gain information on radio.
I think this time LSC learning
Oh,
their lesson.
Bishop,
Their Hab
no!
is inside the
Okay.
building.
Bishop min
Oh.
arms, but looks like Mukundra gets a shot in. I don't think that engined them. Club's in.
Club is now inside the Hab.
Oh no! AT dies to full damage! What are you doing, Gecko? What are you doing? Oh no. Okay, so Club is going to be inside of this Hab. There goes No. Looks like No fell from earlier and falls again on the respawn. That's his Hab camped. Weeble's covering the only door in. I mean, you have the side ladder, but good luck getting to the side ladder when there's a Tap V covering the door. I have to assume that they know about the radio. Now, let's see. These mortars are aiming not at this Tap V, which means this Tap V is going to be able to continue sitting on this door. Would love to see Hack Unstoppable shift his mortars right onto that door, because I think they can hit
Weebles
that.
has made the decision, left the Tap V. They have now blocked spawns.
And simultaneously, lots of movement coming from Cream, tabled. Labs are coming in to respond to this proxy and make sure that they can send as many LSC to the grave as they can.
Weebles is down. They no longer have proxy. Klob is getting back in position to spawn camp.
And you have to assume that Klob is going to have his work cut out for him, because you're about to see a huge spawn wave from LSC if proxy does not happen again. However, Sir Bro Dude, next to the radio, I believe close enough to resume the proxy. Yep, that's a proxy once again. Electing not to shovel radio, just to commit to the proxy and hop back into that tap V. Probably the right call for now, as Tactrig works on bringing more and more infantry to the area. Crustacean, Gangry, Fathead, pouring in. So Klob was really the impetus for all of this, but it's the rest of the team able to take advantage of that proxy and pour into it. I believe G1 gets picked on that radio, but it does not matter. Brett pouring in. Skywalker right
Shotgun is
behind.
currently pumping HE into the radio room, and Brett is now on the radio. Radio is now staged. It is over for this hab.
And if you're LSC, this has to be devastating for your morale off of a 300 ticket loss from the first round. I'm really happy that they're still putting up the fight after that demoralizing first round. It can be very difficult to continue after something like that and after something like this, where you're just being completely dismantled. However, at the same time, looking at Train Tunnel, it does look like
I heard an enemy wake train.
there is a little bit of red.
They just made the call out Wolf cult for an enemy vehicle. Not sure what kind, but it's the ZSL with a full squad of infantry.
So this is interesting. Tactrig, despite their commanding position on to Industrial Yard, is now going to have to find a way
Hab proxy?
to make sure that they can keep train capped. And that's going to
Wolf
be...
just made the call out. LSC has successfully proxied the hab. He is now on full-blown defense mode, calling everyone back.
This is a very nice push from LSC right up to this hab.
That's good.
Oh my gosh, the TK!
Oh,
OP goes down.
Vex, I think he's gonna make it.
it's just Ego and Wolf now, it seems. Frag goes out. Wolf may potentially take it.
So, if LSC can respond effectively to this, push past train station, and go for the cap past train station, it is fully possible we could see a counter roll. So a very effective take from both sides of the match here. I'm very impressed that LSC has been able to pull this off. Now, to revisit,
No good guys alive, evil.
while you continue to watch Train Tunnel, let's revisit Industrial Yard on my end. So at this point, really no red to be seen in the Industrial Yard. This radio is probably going to go down within the next minute or so. It is currently bleeding out. So not much to see in
Ball was
Industrial.
able to successfully respawn and actually defend the hab. May not survive the engagement.
Oh, that's another quick tunnel cap. Not really looking great for Tactrig despite people being... Oh my god, he got deleted.
He
Okay.
took a trade. He's making one more call out, but LSC is not sticking around. He seems like he's going back.
And Tactrig has bigger problems. Tire Factory, the next cap after, might be flashing blue right now, but there is quite a few LSC here on this cap. This is looking kind of bad for Tactrig for a moment.
Train depot is safe. Don't worry about it.
Train Depot being called is safe.
Oh, look at that. LSC has a full helo potentially going toward Tire Factory.
That
They're
is
dropping. Looks like they're going
exactly.
for a landing. That's a one hefty boy.
So we have to kind of hope, if we're Tactrig, that Wolf's call about train being safe is actually true. Their only hope on this is a fast recap.
Yeah,
Biting.
It is there inside the point. He's down, but he should have heard the radio. He should be able to make
Oh,
that
watch
call.
your tail rotor!
Oh, no!
Oh my gosh, no! Oh my gosh, they make it out alive. Big drop, taking advantage of that Chinese helicopter, able to hold a ton of infantry. This is a
Two squads or
completely
three?
dominated cap. And there are no rallies to be seen in the surrounding area for Tactrig. This is
And that's a radio as well.
really heating up. However, the question we now have to ask ourselves is, Train Tunnel, can the cap happen before LSC is able to do anything on the Tire Factory? There are a lot of Tactrig in this Train Tunnel, and not a lot of LSC able to keep that push going from earlier. So this cap is going to get completed pretty soon. The question is, how quickly? And can they beat that absolutely monstrous presence at Tire Factory?
We gotta play from
So this is going to be a double neutral for sure. Actually, no. Not even. Train Tunnel is not being moved right now. And Tire Factory This is exactly what we needed to see from LSC. Earlier about LSC's morale, but I think right now they must be feeling pretty damn good about themselves. Again, looking at
Times are
this,
tough, and they are giving it a good fight.
looking at the surrounding area around the tire factory, there is again no Tactrig to be seen here. There is no contest on this object, and that's tire factory gone down. And now they're on to the next.
TT's in quite the pickle. All their infantry and most of their vehicles are way too forward.
And the
I
problem,
don't think they even have a rapid response.
and the problem now is look at Volino. It's like it's a 20-second walk
Here's what we're gonna do.
for LSC to just walk off cap and grab Volino outskirts real fast. Tactrig completely out of position industrial, out of position at train yard now as well. So the question now becomes industrial. These scattered blueberries, how quickly can they get them moving? Looks like there's a Logi picking up squad 4, trying to get them back to the fight. This is the problem from last round, but in inverse now. The question is, how quickly can these squads respond to this with pickups? Looks like a Lav on industrial also responding to this.
We missed it, but Watchin was putting up a good fight, keeping infantry preoccupied in train tunnel. That's going to give them precious seconds to delay the infantry formalized response against LSC's push on Volino.
And it is just a bit of a walk from train tunnel. There's no fancy pickups, no hot drops happening in this angle. It's just a walk. It'll be the slow response, but go ahead.
Yeah,
I
we
see
have
that Logi.
Wolf and Randy by themselves, potentially going to run into a solo ZSL, potentially going back maybe to TT's first point as a safety.
And I think that ZSL is currently very worried about Tactrig main. I think this is the main camp at the moment. So I would not anticipate this CSL being able to see them from the far distance that he's at right now. Actually. Ooh, just maybe.
They might have heard audio, but it is a solo ZSL.
I don't know,
He is
that can still
currently
do a lot of
looking for
damage. They're not going.
He was able to take pot shots. Oh, they stopped right in front of the ZSL.
Oh,
Guys.
that is unfortunate. Randy goes down, Wolf's still
Randy's
alive,
down.
but
Wolf is unable to do anything by himself.
that's an unfortunate pick. That's going to prevent some spawns from getting set up. And this Felina outskirts, this is insane. LSC is completely flipped over the last round. They're now fully capping on Felina outskirts halfway to neutral. The question,
Looks like the LSC. Just continue.
yeah, the question here is, so the first round, Tactrig victory by 300 tickets. So despite this complete reversal, it is still possible that Tactrig can win this even if they get rolled. So LSC has to maintain above 300 tickets on this victory to be considered as winning both rounds of this scrim. And right now,
There's
they've
the
got...
formalized TT response now. We'll see.
I don't believe it's actually
Coming in.
possible. So looking at tickets...
Full labs rushing in, guns blazing, took one rocket, but it didn't look like it took damage. It might have hit the tires. There comes dismounts.
Looks like a rocket tried to make its way in, did not land. So I was doing some math instead of some camera work. I do not think it's possible for LSC, despite everything. Tactrig, 247 tickets. LSC, 202. You get 60 tickets for a flag cap off of your enemy. That means they'll get 260. That is not enough to push past the 300 ticket differential we saw in the first round. So despite Tactrig's losses, if they can just roll, if they can get themselves rolled back to main, there's nothing that LSC can really do. They've lost too much too quickly.
Yep, and it looks like the labs staying alive is paying its dividends. X is currently outside of the LSC radio and cab, stopping all spawns.
Oh, I need to correct myself for a moment. So Volino Outskirts is not last cap. There is still one more after that, Volino Central. That's going to be 120 tickets that LSC can work with here, which puts them at 320 if they cap both without any losses. But as I speak, that's 2 more losses. So Tactrig really just needs to make sure that 20 tickets worth of LSC go down within the next couple of minutes, and they might have a victory on their hands. Really, I can't say that Tactrig would be very happy with that victory. Being rolled back to main like this is really not something that Tactric leadership will be happy about. So we'll see if they're able to effectively respond. But they are in full recovery.
Look at
Ooh!
that.
What a wallbang!
LSC's hat was able to do some good work, got one of the labs onto burning, may be able to potentially pick it off, but was able to successfully get out of the area, get some pressure off of their hab.
Revisiting Bolino. Looks like to find those ZBLs.
Look at Tire Factory. It's just a few remnants of the TT Hotdrop is now trying to fight against the coming respawns,
And
but
it
it's going to be a
does
tough fight.
look like Cream and Vex will fall to that ZBL that was called earlier. So that lab does not quite make it out alive. But Tire Factory looking much more stable. This radio is in trouble for LSC. So Tactric has shown the value of getting their infantry mobile quickly. The entire reason that this entire situation was allowed to be recovered so far as it has is because Industrial Yard, multiple groups were pulled back quickly using a vehicle to get to this. That is the only reason we're seeing this right now. And that is something that you don't usually see in public matches. Teams are not usually able to respond that quickly to a failing situation as Tactric have here. I am concerned at the amount of barbed wire and... Well, there goes the barbed wire to a grenade. The amount of barbed wire and sandbags. Ooh, another grenade.
Oh, looks
Takes
like
up
a
Miami.
bad nade.
Bad frag.
Right there, we're seeing close quarters fighting. Bishop and Beretta earlier trying to push around a break in the wall, get around the pushing TT infantry.
Meanwhile, on the north side table, Chuckinator firing something fierce. Possibly dealing with another ZBL. Sebas? Was this the ZSL? This was not a ZSL. This is a ZBL who is not feeling good right now. There goes another ZBL. Trading out the loss from earlier. Is this a 50 cal? You can't do this, LSC. Oh, you can't do that. You just can't do that. So LSC tries to throw a ZSL open top into the situation to try to maybe get a pick. But again, as I mentioned earlier, they need to cap 2 objectives to get 120 tickets. They need to win by 300 and some extra tickets on top of that. They have 150. 150 plus 120? It's not enough. It's just not enough. So at this point, I think mathematically not possible for LSC to win this scrim.
Sadly,
But
that math is not mathing, Dexy.
is it not mathing? It's not
I
mathing.
don't think
So,
LSC has a good chance.
They can't really
Numbers.
recover at this point, but they can still show Tactric what they need to work on. And the fact that this even happened at all is pretty damning on Tactric's end, and they're going to need to revisit what caused this to happen. But they also need to consider they have done a very good job of keeping themselves in this fight. Now, LSC at the same time responding to the Tire Factory. Big push on the east side. Could possibly save this radio. I'm not sure how long this radio has been bleeding, but it is bleeding. And 20 tickets off of a radio goes even further to make sure that Tactrig wins the dual rounds of this scrim. Now, again, I have to complain, this barbed wire on this door in might have made them feel more comfortable earlier, but now means that Corcho here has one door to push through. Might try to shovel through the wall. Don't think he can. Radio goes down. That's another 20 tickets. So despite being rolled nearly back to main, Tactric now double on LSC's tickets. Ega with a nice pick onto Corcho. Sounds like hell outside. ZBL is making its way out with about half of a health bar. Smoking out, gone now. Hack Unstoppable, very close to a Tactric rally on this Tire Factory, though.
Ooh, good pick by
Nice.
Janjador inside the building that once was LSC's Tire Factory hab.
If I have to give an MVP to one member of LSC's group, it's Hack Unstoppable. Hack's been able to burn rallies.
I will say, throughout the matches, we've seen LSC pull off some very daring plays, some of which haven't worked so well, but some of which have paid their dividends, especially with that 2 to 3 squad drop with the helo.
The tickets were all that were needed off of that radio. And I do hear a tank behind my camera right now. Let's get a view onto that guy. So the tickets from that radio were really all Tactric needed. They could let the caps go, and it would be totally fine. In fact, as we watch this take, let's update on caps. So it looks like Valina outskirts stabilized, no red to be seen. Tire Factory is now the big fight, and there is quite a few LSC inside of Tire Factory, but at this point, the hope of rolling Tactic back to main is now gone.
Yep, Ago and a few others are trying to put up a good fight what remains of Tire Factory, but LSC is able to push in with excessive manpower and take back the building.
So zooming out to the big picture, we're really seeing now a real big dichotomy. We have Tactic to the north, LSC to the south. It's going to be a very stable 50-50 grind, which is not what LSC needed to win this scrim, as we mentioned earlier. But this grind might still provide opportunities for both teams to learn a couple things from each other.
Interestingly enough, LSC Nico Vidal has heard audio on Wolf's radio, and he's pushing it right now. He's dropped a mark. It sounds like LSC now knows where Wolf's back radio is.
So that's a big flank. It looks like Wolf probably might not make it alive in this situation.
Nope, goes for a successful stab. Randy does not respond. He might be too late with the pullout.
Pistol? Pistol? Oh no. Oh, poor camera work. I'm sorry, I just missed it, but Randy gets the pick on that one. So LSC has the information. The question is, how are they going to be able to get people out here to do something about this radio? Looks like Warstick is just behind on this. Might get the cleanup, but oh, that is a big spawn from Tactric. Another 3 or so to stabilize the situation.
Unfortunately, it seems like Nico was one of the only few outside of Warstick. I don't think they'll be able to follow it up with that, now that the spawn wave has happened.
Warstick going for the rat play. But cannot make the aim quite happen to take both of them. Never mind, I eat my words. Biting goes down with Brett. TPO has eyes during the reload. Goes for the pistol.
Ico moment.
Ico moment. The TPO takes quite a while. You have to yell at people to do semi-auto. Wolf now making the correct call. Spread the fuck out and get rallies out. When you've been proxied like this, or not even proxy, when you have one rat get in, you need to make sure that your rallies are established and that you've got backup spawns, because you never know how many people are going to be behind that rat. At the moment, zooming out a little bit, does not look like there's much LSC to come respond and follow up that rat play. That was pretty well done by LSC, though, getting that information, but responding to that information is kind of the separator between a good team and a great team.
Interestingly enough, LSC ZBL is currently parked with just its turret poking relatively outside of the TT main, injured but able to block off some vehicles.
So I wonder if we're engined here, possibly due to AT. The only AT I see nearby is Sir Bro Dude, who has a shot
Brett,
now.
I believe, across the road, but he was taken out earlier, but he might have got that shot on, which is why they are currently there in a bad position.
So Law does not do that much damage, but this ZBL is not looking very good. Let's see if this manages to... At the very least, if you're a lat, you need to hit this turret. Keep it from fighting back. Oh, Rep gets taken out. Very nicely done from Ghost of Narva. Their bro dude not taking the shot just yet. I believe he is stabilizing. There's a shot. Lands just a bit short, unfortunately. So this ZBL is going to be allowed to live for a little bit longer. I don't...
Ghost of Narva going for the tire kills.
Oh, there goes their ZBL. There we go. Nicely done. So that's the ZBL picked apart. I did not see any lavs in the area to really respond to that ZBL anyways. So it's good that the AT is managing to do something about that. I do hear tank. It looks like...
Looks like a tank engagement.
Bakundra getting shelled. On the other end of this, ZTZ in Valino Town. Big hit. And not as... So that's 0 for 2 for LSC in terms of tanks. Pretty close, though. This tank is just about on fire. Or am I seeing maybe the remains of a shot landing? The smoke's not that dark. But double reps is good.
It might just be tracks, not engine. Oh, actually, no, you're right. That might be a fire.
No, I think they're good now. Both UAVs are now above. There's our other UAV. But
Well, Vex is not risking it. He is full speed reversing it out with double smokes. He is not staying around.
so tank is going to be able to make it out. And as called, airstrike. This is why you look for that UAV. Because the airstrike hits absolutely nothing. And this is why you double repair. The fact that they had 2 crewmen allowed this tank to get out in time to avoid that airstrike. Now, if you're only 2 inside of that tank, you never want to get your gunner out of the vehicle. But if you've got a commander and a driver, the double rep is a big deal when you're going up against a really good team.
LSC.
Able to scout with the helicopter. Possibly on standby for something important. So LSC with a pretty big push up the west side of Tire Factory.
The ZBL in a lab engagement. LSC's lab was able to get a couple shots on. Or sorry,
Very nice.
LSC's ZBL.
Very nice usage of cover on that bridge. Able to stay alive with that lab behind cover. And it looks like on the other end, ZBL with really no cover stuck out on this road. Lab could probably take a peek and maybe get a couple of shots in, but this is really just a standoff at this point.
Yep, they are in a difficult situation. To their rear, they have a full squad of LSC. Because of the lab, they can't shoot over the rear. They can only do very little. in response
Oh,
to
goodness.
headshots.
Yep, there they go. Meanwhile, ZBL is going to be fully repairing and getting their way out of here. In this case, not pushing any luck, served LSC pretty well.
Yep, and right at the same time, we have the beginning of what looks like a TT artillery dropping right on what they believe is the position of the LSC hab and radio.
They were damn close, too. Just a little bit off. Unless they end up stretching that a little bit farther. That would have wiped out quite a lot of LSC, but at the moment, they're feeling okay. And it appears to be stretching in the correct direction now. The question is, has it been marked far enough? I don't believe it has. This is the end of the
I
barrage.
do not think so.
But not quite far enough. But
Nope, that's the end of artillery.
Ego, Heistman, Club, and Weebles just behind this radio. Probably going to have a view of it pretty soon.
Yep, oh, look at that. It's an open air radio.
So they're already not hitting that open air radio. Kind of unfortunate for Tactrig, but the infantry so close by. They might be getting a little distracted by the infantry fight. I do not think they have a good idea of this radio just yet, but they probably will very soon. Oh, never mind. Sounds like Brett knows exactly where this radio is. Lightning going right
Sir
for
Bro
it.
Dude is dead on the radio. I'm assuming he is screaming in squad chat, telling please come over to this radio and get it
So,
down.
Brett just used a tandem on a radio. Usually kind of a weird call, but in this case, I believe it has staged the radio,
It
preventing
has successfully staged it.
LSC from spawning on their hab. And it's going to be Viveka and Azo basically alone at the top of this hill to hold that radio. They're in a great position, but it's not going to be easy for them.
And now it's Funny Heist, Klob, and Ago shoveling down and staging the radio. Sorry, staging the hab.
I'm coming to help you.
And again, this is a case of the hab. You have a good building,
Worry about very nonsense.
but why is it outside? And why is it so far away from your radio, which has also been placed outdoors? Which has put it at risk for, if not the artillery, in this case, at the very least, a hat rocket, or maybe a lav, a tank shell. So really crucial to get your stuff inside. Even if you've got a building like this, where the exits are a little bit constricted, you could still very easily put a pretty good hab in here, with one exit right here, one exit right here. You've got 2 exits, you've got roof cover.
We're gonna move the radio. We're gonna move everything.
It's kind of exactly where that hab needed to be, but it was not. Now Klob and company are going to move on to this radio.
How's I gonna rally up?
Couple still alive on top of the hill to hold it desperately, but again, no respawns.
Drop the radio on the south side.
Even if there were respawns available, with 29 tickets left, I don't think LSC is going to be able to give up. Klob goes down. Lightning alone on the radio. Might be able to long arm a shovel, but more
God,
Oh no.
a bad
And that's-
matchup to see on the highway.
And that's 15 tickets, and 15 tickets being more than the cost of this radio that Lightning is currently shoveling with his Combat Engineer Super Shovel, this scrim is about to be over in the next minute or two. All right, scrim has now been placed on a time limit. Radio is bleeding. We've got about 75 seconds until this ends, unless LSC can do something
LSC
about
making a
this.
last-minute push with a score.
It's too late now. You can't.
Right in the open field. Can they get a successful drop-off?
I don't
they actually
believe.
managed to do it outside of the line of sight of the tank, Hilo.
Oh no, that shot was nailed. Unfortunately, did not get to capture that as much as I would have liked to, but tank just cleaning up the bodies in the last few frames. Not sure if the radio bled out on that one. Timeline. No, that was going to be down to the heli and a couple of infantry, including the commander. Commander gave up 2 tickets, but shortly after that, radio absolutely would have bled out.
Terrible strategy, exactly.
So, for
What a difficult match.
I am very impressed, though, because LSC very nearly managed to completely flip this entire thing on its head. And that is not easy when you're at such a morale disadvantage after the first round. It was going to be nearly impossible to come back from a 300 ticket victory no matter what. That was always going to be true. But to be able to pull off that much of a counter roll on a team that is this skilled takes a lot. And I think that LSC needs to be proud of what they managed to accomplish in the second round.
I agree. I think they did a really good job. They may have lost that initial fight between the Lavs and the ZBLs due to a combination of the positioning and also the infantry and anti-tank that was supporting. But once they got that ball rolling on Tire Factory, they were able to give TT a run for their money, even without the vehicle support.
And I think even if we isolate this, pretend it's not a scrim, pretend this is just a pub, hats off to TT for managing to play so conservatively that they were able to keep most of their losses within a sane amount. If you look at the vehicle losses, Tech Trig only losing 60 tickets on vehicles compared to the 110 from LSC. A little bit more on infantry. But at the same time, like, this really is just a case from you have lost so aggressively in the first round, it's basically impossible to come back from. But like I said, that flip onto Tire Factory and almost to Lino was very well done. I loved seeing the Chinese heli drop the first time, maybe not so much the second time, but maybe they wanted to go out in a blaze of glory, and I respect that as well.
I respect the aggressive plays instead of taking a more passive stance once they realized that they were caught off on a bad rollout.
Yes, so we're gonna send our GGs. I'm gonna say second round Tire Factory. Great work, LSC, because they played very, very well in that second round. It's so. If you've not played one of these scrims, I cannot overstate how tough it is to lose a first round that badly. But to be able to come back from that is absolutely incredible. So this team has a lot to be proud of, despite the difficulties that they faced today. They showed that they can push past the mental blocks, and that's really like if you can't kill a bunch of dudes, well, you can get a bit better at fragging. If you have some issues with outdoor radios and outdoor habs, okay, we'll put them in the building. But if you cannot get past the mental block of, oh, I lost, it's over, you will never win. But LSC has shown that despite other issues, the mental side of squad, they have a handle on that. They can get better at placing more protected radios. They can work on their armor a little bit better. They have the mindset that provides them a path to become really, really good players. The hardest part is already done. They already have a good mindset. So I'm very proud, and I think LSC should be very proud of what they managed to accomplish today.
I agree. They put up a very good fight, and they really, really pressed TT. They found weaknesses in their back lines, and they really challenged them and forced them to respond rather than ignore it.
So, unless we get a couple people poking in for chats and interviews like we often do, I think that might just be the end of it for this one.
Do you feel like talking with someone in particular? You can ask very nicely.
I think that I'd like to let them have their chat for now. We've been kind of on the air for quite a long time, especially with that delayed start. Thank you to everyone, by the way, who stuck around for that delayed start. We had some issues with the server that needed fixing. You know, kind of how it goes. Squad scrims never start on time. But thank you for sticking around for this one. Clearly, a really, really good match, especially for that second round. If you have not already, please sub to the Tactric YouTube channel. I see us creeping up to 800 subs. The road to 1,000 kind of starts pretty soon. So if you can help us on that road, we'd really appreciate it. Sandune, thank you so much for casting for me, for camming for me. This was Sandune's first time doing something like this, and I think you did a really great job, man. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. That's very nice. It's always enjoyable, you know? We have fun on TT, get to do some things like this. Anyone who is also watching who hasn't actually tried it, or tried a couple rounds on TT, I hope we can see you.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing that I always want to recommend at the end of these. If you are not doing anything after this scrim, especially because it's kind of a more midday scrim, this is TT prime time right now. If we're up, go join the Tactric server. You can get a little taste of the skilled gameplay that you saw here, because a lot of these regulars have no lives, and they will probably log off of this server right now and go play Tactric pub server. So you might get to see a couple of these guys in action on there, squad up with them.
You know, as you say that, I think I actually see a couple of our regulars go straight from the match, and they've already logged in on TT. They're currently enjoying themselves a nice
Let's
round.
see. Let's find.
So
I'm gonna plug this. Search TT server browser. Oh god, maybe that's not the best one. So there's a lot of double T's in the names here. So let's search TAC. TAC TAC. We've got a full server, 10 in the queue. Not a very bad queue for this time of day. You're gonna get in pretty quickly, and you're gonna find yourself with a lot of really good players. So thankfully, I don't need to help them seed, because that seed's been happening for a long time now. In any case, I hope you guys will join us on the live server. Wolf, I see you've joined us in the Discord. Wolf, did you have anything you wanted to share before we leave?
Dude, that was fun.
That was awesome. Dude, we are...
Oh yeah, Dexy and I were talking about it.
We were glazing the fuck out of LSC on that second round. That tire factory was sick. That was great.
Did you actually think we were going to lose?
No, I didn't think. We did the math. We kind of figured, okay, well, they've got 120 tickets. But still, I wanted to see how much pain they could put you guys through. And you guys did a really good job of loading the trucks up and picking up and getting back there to figure it out.
They almost had you with your original Logi, Wolf, and Randy, when you guys went back. And then also, once you guys got your first hab, I think, on the cap after tire, I think they were almost able to get a successful hab wipe if it wasn't for the fact that Randy was able to get the pick off with a rifle versus pistol.
Yep.
That was a pretty funny pick by Randy too.
Wait, did you get a clip of that?
I kind of got a clip. My camera work was a little shaky on that one. Unfortunately, it didn't look very pretty, but I did see it. Yeah.
No,
I actually have the recording on my end. I have the recording on my end, I think.
Yeah.
Squad side though, I think it doesn't include the Discord.
Are we still live?
The Discord.
We are still on the air, so if you've got some stuff you'd like to say, maybe to LSC or to the public, just go for it.
That was amazing. I want to play LSC again. They gave us a really good fight.
Yeah,
that was probably the most fun we've had in a long time.
So I had said before you had joined, LSC seems to have gotten the hardest part of squad down, which is the mentality. Because they off of round one, a 300 ticket loss is just fucking brutal. And it's just the easiest thing to say, okay, well, that's it. We're going to just fuck around round two. But they didn't fuck around. They actually came to fuck. And that's the hardest part, because you can learn to, put your hab inside, or you can learn to make your armor a bit better and more competitive. But a mindset is very hard to learn, and they have that done already. So they're more than halfway to being amazing.
Yep.
All right. Well, we've been on the air for quite a long time. So, viewers, thank you for joining. They've already gotten the spiel about joining the pub server, so they should go do that. They should also subscribe. With that, we're going to sign it off. Thank you guys for joining. Wolf, thank you for a great game. Sandune, thank you for a great cast. And we'll see you guys for the next one. When is the next one, by the way? Do we have one scheduled currently?
Next week.
Next week?
There is one.
Heck yeah.
Next week, who are we up against?
I don't remember, but we have one next week.
And Wolf is going to pressure me to not stream it and actually play it, and I'm going to say maybe.
Yes.
I'm going to say maybe. So we'll see if there's a stream for that one. Maybe I can convince Logano to do it or something.
You should convince him. I think he deserves to be back on.